Welcome to Top 5 Wednesday, the weekly BookTube community series on any and everything books and storytelling related. For August 5th, 2015, we're talking favorite book maps. I'm happy that this is the topic because I have some favorite maps that I want to share. Now, maps get you where you're going, but in fiction they do something pretty magical. They become like a character in the book. They ground you in the world. They make it real. They create a sense of space and wonder that lets you travel along in the adventure. Yeah, maps are pretty special. My first pick is a classic and iconic example of what a map should do in fiction. It should draw you into the world, and I'm speaking about Middle-earth from J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings trilogy. There's places in this book that you can't forget that the story actually brings to life. Think of the Misty Mountains or the Mines of Moria in the Lord of the Rings, each place presenting its own challenges for our fellowship. You have the White City, the plains of Gondor, Rohan, Mordor, that place that we have to get to but we don't want to go. All these places make the story what it is. Each place has a certain role to play and is memorable in this story as we follow our travelers along. I don't think the story would be the same without the map. And I think any cartographer would be happy to have a mural of Middle-earth painted on their ceiling. That would be pretty cool. For my second pick, we go to the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan, finished by Brandon Sanderson. Now, at the center of this series is a concept about how the world is reborn or remade. There's an epic scale to Robert Jordan's magnum opus that makes you want to flip back to the front and look at the map and follow Rand al'Thor and his travelers through this world and find out where they're traveling to. It's as broad and expansive as Middle-earth, but it has its own unique features that make it what it is. I love the two rivers. I love the Blight, which is like Mordor in Middle-earth, except that there are people who actually can go across it. It's not cut off, and it's not this ultimate well of evil. So I love how each place actually gives you a sense of emotion when you think about it or look at it. So that's what I think Robert Jordan's map does powerfully. It actually makes you feel something. My third pick is Perdido Street Station and the map of New Krobazon, the city where the story takes place. Now, the book is nothing if not a set piece for a weird and fantastical world. The map itself could pass for a street map in our world, but once you know who lives there, you'll start to think about the danger and the mystery that lies in its streets. And when you look at the map, you wonder, what would life be like there? It's not just any old Google map, I'll tell you that. Map number 4 comes from the fantasy novel Shield and Crocus, and it's of the city of Audic Hall. The city is none other than a giant skeleton of a giant, a fallen giant from ages ago. How can you not get depressed in a city with scenery like that? Ribcage here, finger bones there, a giant skull. The book's okay. The story has vigilantes fighting crime bosses, and there's a lot of fantasy elements. But the map is an interesting introduction into the story. And it's sparsely populated, not very many markings on the map, but there are a few choice selections. I will have to point out the one that made me laugh the hardest. If you look for Hook's Hole, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And our last map on favorite maps is Middle-earth. This is not cheating. This is a love letter to one of the most profound companion maps to any story in modern fantasy. Am I right? So The Hobbit. We can revisit this because in The Hobbit, Bilbo Baggins goes on his adventure with the dwarves. I was about to say elves. He does go... that's a movie. But Middle-earth, they visit entirely different places. Plus, one of the most iconic moments in the Middle-earth story, when Bilbo goes to the Misty Mountains and he finds the One Ring, that's a memorable scene that can only be defined by the Misty Mountains, and you can't help but think about them. And then, of course, their destination is the Lonely Mountain, and they have to go through Mirkwood Forest. So there's a lot of really interesting locales, completely separate, or give you completely different feelings and meaning when you read The Hobbit. So that's why Middle-earth comes back and takes 2 spots in the top 5 maps list. So thanks for watching. This is my first Top 5 Wednesday. If you're interested in all the topics, you can go to the Goodreads group. The link will be in the description. This is Josh for The Reign of Books. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you next time.